What's up? What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and I am back. Well, we're back for MVP Sports Live, your daily dose of sports news and knowledge and opinions right here on MVP Sports. I am joined by a beautiful face plus a sight for sore eyes right now because you have not seen him in a week. I think the last time you saw him was last Friday. I am here joined from his vacation house in Michigan, Dave Oster, joining me on the show. Dave, gotta ask you, how you doing? How's the vacation been?
I am doing great. The vacation's been great. I've no complaints. I mean, it's gorgeous up here. I avoided whatever that. I think there was a derecho that hit Illinois and Chicago area. There's a lot of wind, a whole lot of storm. I missed the looting on State Street downtown.
You did?
On Michigan Avenue.
You did?
So, I leave and the town goes to shit. What does that say? But no, up here, it's been great. It's sunny. It's gorgeous. I went to the beach this morning. Yesterday morning, I kayaked. Been drinking all day. It's a great time. I love vacation. This is the first one I've taken since
Summer League.
Last year.
Summer League. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Summer League. This is my first vacation since Summer League last year, so it's sorely due, and I'm loving it. I'm spending a lot of money. Unfortunately, that's the downside.
Which, two things from that. Number one, I can tell you've been enjoying vacation because you seem like a more relaxed Dave that I like seeing. Very relaxed. Not as stressed Dave.
Not sober Dave.
Not sober Dave. But number two, bringing up Summer League, my mom the other day was like,
I missed that.
She said that she'd never had a blizzard, and her coworker was shocked. And she's like, "Have you ever had a blizzard?" And I was like, "Yeah, we had them at Summer League. We had to get our daily blizzard at Summer League."
Yeah, you got to go upside down. Does it hold?
Upside
it does
down.
hold.
What was I? Did I get the Oreo one all the time?
You got the Oreo one. I think I got the cookies and cream, maybe.
That's right.
Or maybe you got a peanut butter one.
Oh, and then we had that fucking... What was that alcoholic drink we bought the one time?
It was basically
daiquiri, like lemonade. Was it a lemonade, daiquiri thing?
Yeah. It was good.
It was very good.
Kept the games interesting.
I would totally go back to Summer League in a heartbeat. But
same here.
We got a jam-packed show for you guys. Let's hope COVID goes away so Dave and I can go back to Summer League. And maybe bring some of you guys along with us. Maybe you guys meet us there. But let's get into everything. Little cap. Everything that we're getting into today is a happy, happy day. But before we get into why it's a happy, happy day, we got to talk about a little bit of housekeeping. Number one, Dave, I don't know if you saw it from yesterday. We have officially opened up the Discord to everyone. So there's a link down below in the YouTubes where you can click on it. Join the Discord. It's a great time. You get to have conversations with everyone from the MVP fandom, plus Dave, Soapy, myself. We're all in there. Sam and Demon, who are in Twitch chat right now, they are in the Discord as well. It's been an only Patreon thing, but now everyone gets access to it. Going into that, patreon.com/most-valuable. That is not what it is anymore. I've done that 5 times this week. It is patreon.com/MVP vids. It's going to happen for eternity. It's been one of those things.
Put a Post-it note with the name in front of you as you read it off your screen.
I have to, because I've been saying most valuable podcast for 4 years now. So it's it's been ingrained into the head. That's what it is.
At least 3.
Patreon.com/MVP vids. $1 tier gets you the voice channels for that Discord. Then we have different things like the silver tier gets to interact with shows. Gold tier gets content early, and platinum tiers are our producers for the live shows. And I'm trying to think of anything else that I have for housekeeping today. Podcast services. Thank you for your patience while we wait for Spotify and Apple and that to get back to us on that.
Yeah.
Gotta still figure that one out. I thank you guys for your patience. And I think, draft content. Draft content is coming soon. My Team Fit videos will be coming out the 20th. Not the 20th, the 24th. But if you're a gold tier patron, you get them starting on Monday. So starting Monday, patrons will see them. The 24th, everyone will. And Dave, the draft lottery is next Thursday. So I forgot that, and I'm like, we got to do a live stream for
6
that.
6 days.
So next Thursday, we'll do a live stream, like we always do for the draft lottery. But Dave, speaking of the draft lottery, speaking of the NBA, it is happy days, happy days, happy. Jim Boylen's finally fired. Like,
it should be a holiday.
National Jim Boylen Day, like Jim Boylen's fired day.
Yeah, I say I don't want to put his name on there, like JB's gone day or something, so you know that we've cleaned house finally. We've waited
National
so long
fell
for
off
this
the
happen.
wall day, because Sam calls him Humpty Dumpty. He finally fell off the wall today.
True.
But basically the story is the Bulls have fired him. Arturas Karnisovas announced that Jim Boylen is fired. The Bulls tweeted it out. Woj tweeted it out. We're going to talk about, yet again, candidates going forward. But, Dave, I just want right now, what was your immediate reaction? And what were you doing when you heard the news that Jim Boylen would no longer be the coach of the Chicago Bulls?
So I was actually at the beach. And I came back up. I was drying off. I grabbed my phone. And I saw that my Discord had blown up. I was like, what is this? What happened? Why is there so much action going on in the MVP Discord? By the way, if you want to check it out, check out the MVP Discord. The link's down below. Shameless plug.
Yeah.
I was literally at the beach, and I flipped it up, and it was like, Boylen's gone. And then it was a stream of people's instant reactions to Boylen being gone. Here's our head coach targets. Here's everything that's going on in the situation. I was so happy, but I was still confused. I don't understand why it was we had to wait until like the season was like over to officially fire him, because I think correct me if I'm wrong, aren't their final games going on today?
Yes.
Or were the final games last night?
Yeah,
it was today, right?
There are final games today.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was a Bull, like Jerry Reinsdorf kind of said, hey, you got to wait until the last season or the last day.
It felt like that, yeah. It felt like that old school kind of like, we're not going to remove him from position until he's wrapped up his official season.
Even though his games are over.
Of course they're over, because he sucks as a coach.
They've been well over, because the Bulls didn't even qualify for the bubble. But I was actually asleep when the news broke, because today I slept in a little bit. And when I woke up around noon, I looked at my phone, and basically Brandon had texted me. The Discord had texted me. Soapy, I think, sent me. Like, there were several things. Tim on Twitter, Mike 2K on Twitter. We're also like, Jim Boylen's been fired. And it's just like my reaction right away was, oh my God, it's happening. It's happening. Because now I'm glad I don't have to hear Soapy whenever, like, for example, whenever we'd bring up Adrian Griffin, I don't have to hear Soapy go, no, you're not going to get him. Boylen's your head coach.
Well,
Boylen's going to be your head coach.
In lieu of Boylen's firing, there was also, we do have to acknowledge that Adrian Griffin's ex-wife came out and made some accusations on Twitter.
We mentioned that yesterday.
Okay.
What are your opinions on that? Because I gave mine yesterday with Soapy. If you have any thoughts on that, go ahead.
I didn't see that, so I'm gonna be honest. This week I've been pretty disconnected. I saw that Jake had done the show. I saw that Jake had done the show, and I saw that Brandon had done the show, and that was it. I was just like, oh, I saw the first 5 minutes of both. Like, great. I love you guys both for coming in. Thank you both for being able to jump in on the fly. But in lieu of the Adrian Griffin accusation, I think it's one of those things where I don't want to make a judgment right away. I understand that social media is a platform where people have the ability to be heard by a large public, and that's necessary in a lot of situations. And I think Pat in Discord, we were having a discussion this morning about it, and it was like, I totally understand that is, a valid way to put the information out there and draw a spotlight to, hey, this is happening. And I don't want to dismiss that at all. But at the same time, I'm hearing one of three sides of the story. There's her side, his side, and the truth somewhere in the middle. Yeah. And I think that's what's the issue here is, there's all these awful stories, what she's accusing him of. And then there's him making a very blanket statement, just saying, hey, my ex-wife is making these horrible accusations about me. That's because we're going through this thing going for child support and custody. And that's it's just a smear job by her. Yeah. And I'm sure there's some truth in between both. Either way, like, I'm not comfortable moving forward. I'm with Pat. I'm not comfortable moving forward with him until there's been an investigation, as to some of these claims, because obviously if they're true, it's disgusting and I don't want him part of the NBA at all. But if it's false, like the KP thing, like Kristaps Porzingis was someone who just a little bit over a year ago was being accused of domestic abuse.
And no one talks about it now.
And it was just a false accusation. It was someone he had, a relationship with, but it also clearly was not guilty of. And it just took time to clear up. So I don't want it to scare me out of an opportunity that could be beneficial to the Bulls, but also I don't want to have someone employed by the Bulls or the NBA in general who would do something like that. So I think that if I'm not eliminating him from my coaching searches at this time, but I am saying if we're going to move forward with any sort of search with him in it, you need to do your due diligence and then some. Well, I need to have a conversation with the ex-wife. I need to have a conversation with the kids, because there were reports of, the kids have completely said this and that. And I'm like, I don't know if those are their actual accounts or if they're people spinning up accounts. Like, I don't know. Yeah. There's too much going on in social. That's what I'm saying. Well,
and the thing that I think is that I think that Karnisovas is going to do, like, I believe that he'll do the due diligence. Yeah. Where, like, Paxton and why am I blanking? Gar. I've basically, they're out of my brain because they don't matter anymore. But I feel like that Eversley and Karnisovas are going to put in the due diligence. I do not fear that this will happen. And the tweet from Woj earlier, when Woj tweeted Bulls have fired, it was just Bulls have fired coach Jim Boylen. Then he quoted his own tweet and said, Arturas Karnisovas makes the change on Boylen and will start the search right away for his replacement. Among many expected to be considered, Denver assistant Wes Unsled Jr., former Brooklyn coach Kenny Atkinson, Toronto assistant Adrian Griffin, who we just talked about, and Bucks assistant Darvin Ham. There are tons of other names out there. Stephen A. Smith had your favorite coach and coach of the year in your mind, Grit and Grind, baby. He had Dave Fizdale on today, and he basically warned Fizdale away from the Bulls, said, don't take the Bulls job.
Listen to him, Fizz.
I have the quote here because it's funny. It's just, so this is from someone I found, Super Bulls fan on Twitter. Go ahead and follow her if you're a Bulls fan, at Ramina1690. She said, Knicks fan versus Woj. We stand with Woj. Stephen A. Smith said on ESPN's First Take that you are better off being an assistant or getting a job somewhere else than taking a Chicago Bulls job. Smith, nobody needs to touch that job. Don't go nowhere near that job. Stay the hell away from that job. Very simple. Here's what Woj said. It's a good job that is attractive to candidates around the league. The Bulls have excellent young talent. It's the kind of team that coaches believe can have a fairly significant turnaround in a short period of time.
I absolutely agree with Woj. I don't understand where Stephen A. Smith is coming from. The whole reason you would have stayed away from the job was if the former Gar Forman, John Paxton were still in power. Clearly they are not, and I don't understand how he has not realized that. And it's almost hurtful to me of his ignorance on the topic, because we now have the right people in charge. We have people who have a track record of success in charge of our organization, and I think it's one of the best jobs available in the league. If you had the Knicks job versus the Bulls job, which one are you going to choose? I understand Reinsdorf and Dolan are both equal evils, but below that level, you should see Karnisovas and what he has done with the Denver Nuggets in the past, and what they've done in their scouting and their team makeup, and the success of the Denver Nuggets building what will be a multiple-year playoff run going forward with great pieces that were drafted all over the draft from the first to late second round. I don't know how you think that that's not going to be an attractive job to head coaches out there.
Well, and I totally agree with you, because the big thing, like, you bring up the Knicks job, because that's another job that, like, they got
recently
Tom Thibodeau. But I look at it and it's like, that's a team where do they have the pieces to be great? Potentially. Like, Mitch Robinson.
No, they don't.
Like, I think they're a team that, depending on what you can do with it, are they a team that's going to be like, yes, everything we have here is what we need. No, they still need to add pieces. I'm not saying like they're a finished product, but like RJ Barrett, if you can get a coach in there that can get his prime. I think that Mitch Robinson is not like a bad player to have on that team. Kevin Knox has been garbage, but like if you need to cut him, go ahead and trade him or whatever. But like I look at the Bulls and it's like Lauri Markkanen before Jim Boylen was someone we had we were like up about rookies. Lauri, yeah. And then Jim Boylen came and it's like, whoa, where did Lauri go? Zach LaVine over the last few years has gone from, in my mind, I don't know if he can lead this team to how did we give him so much goddamn money to God, I love you, Zach. I'm glad you're here, Zach. Like that's the
top
fucking
10 3-pointer in the league. He's a top 10 3-point shooter in the league. He's someone who can get his own. He's someone who can get other people's shots. He's one of the best finishers in the league. He's not your number one guy when you're on a championship quality team, but he is a very good player. And that's at the end of the day, that's fine for where the Bulls are at right now.
Yeah. Who do you think we're going to hire? That's the last thing I'll say here.
I mean, the top name on the list. We've been saying it for a long time.
You going with Kenny? Okay.
It's Kenny. Yeah. Like he is the name to get because he is the point guard whisperer. He has the previous history of being able to work with a young Brooklyn Nets team and have them overachieve and use pieces to, the pieces are greater than the whole of the sum kind of deal. When you have a great role player lineup and you're able to achieve really good results and bring them to the playoffs, it was impressive. I was impressed. I don't think anybody had those expectations of the Nets from last year. This year, obviously, different team, different personalities around there and different expectations. And I understand why he left the team or why he was removed from the team. That being said, I still think he's
parted ways.
Mutually parted, and that's fine. That's fine with me because he's a great developmental coach. He gets the most out of guys who have been discarded and looked over. Like I think he is the perfect guy to step into this Bulls team and go, Chris Dunn, point guard. I don't know. He was literally the second best point guard defender in the entire NBA. I think we can find something here to work with him. Zach LaVine, great scorer. Otto Porter, when healthy, is one of the best wing, second, third options in the NBA. Lauri Markkanen. Like we have talent. We have so much young talent with so much potential. It's just we have to have the right guy to figure out how to use it the right way. And I think that Kenny would be an ideal fit. I do have concerns for him because of the way he used the lineups in Brooklyn. Yeah. He used his depth completely. And I don't know if it's just a matter of the fact that Brooklyn had a lot of young pieces. So it was like, hey, everybody gets 25 minutes and, we're going to run 14 deep on the daily. And that's my plan. I don't know if he would do the same thing in Chicago or not, but we definitely have a different lineup than that. So I don't think that would work out as well, but I do think that we've got a lot of young, interesting pieces, and he definitely has a knack for being able to work with guards. So I'm all for it because I think Kobe White with some mentorship, Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine, those three guys with the right coach setting plays for will a long way.
Yeah, and I mean, you did a little bit. We're just, you know what? Today, it's how the sausage is made. Just push right through it. Like, I'm not even bringing it up. If it happens, I know you're going to catch up. It's not like a soapy thing where usually it's like those are the best because I'd be like, and here it is, leading up, question. He's not there no more, is he? That's usually what it is.
Hey, God.
So yeah, we'll just push right through. It's how the sausage is made today. But for me, there's like a tier. Kenny Atkinson's the dream coach at the top. Then there's a tier 2 for me, and this is where these are the ones where I'm like, I don't know yet if I for sure want them, but they're on the list. Adrian Griffin's one of them. The reason why he's the I don't know is because of what we mentioned yesterday and today.
That's fair.
You've got the assistant from the 76ers that I fuck up his name every time I say it. Ime Udoka or Udoka. He's
Ima.
Yeah, he's a Sixers assistant head coach.
Yeah. He's a former Spurs coach.
Okay.
Assistant coach.
Because that right away scared me to where it's like, I understand why he's on the list, because Eversley, if I'm not mistaken, came from the 76ers in their front office, if I'm not mistaken. But like
I can't fact check, I'm sorry.
When you're anywhere near the Brett Brown coaching staff, Yeah, I get worried. I get a little worried.
Well, Brett Brown was a former Spurs coach, but at the same time, I think so was Tom Thibodeau a long time ago.
Yeah, and Thibodeau also, I think he went from there to Doc.
He was a Celtics.
But
so, yeah.
The other one in that tier is Wes, the Denver assistant.
Wes Unseld.
And that's one where I'm like, I could see the Bulls going with that because that's where Kornashovas came from with
Denver's
Denver.
Entire,
But the one that's a third tier that I don't think she makes the list, but I wouldn't be upset if the Bulls even if they gave her a chance. I see on the CBS Sports article, Becky Hammon is 6th on the list. Yep. Number 7th is your second favorite coach, Dave. Your first favorite is David Fizdale. Your second favorite is the guy that got the Warriors ready for their They have Mark Jackson on the list at 7 because you gotta put him there.
How is Dave Yeager not above him?
I don't know. Dave Yeager's not even on the list. The list on CBS has this. They have number 1 as the Sixers assistant. Number 2 is Kenny Atkinson. 3 is Adrian Griffin. Number 4 is the Denver assistant. Number 5 is Darvin Ham, who's the Bucks assistant.
Yeah.
Becky Hammon is 6th. Mark Jackson is 7th, and that's the end of the list. Dave Yeager, nowhere near it. Nowhere near it.
I would be happy to re-tier that with 1 as Kenny, 2 as Adrian Griffin, 3 as Ime, 4 as Wes, 5 as Becky, 6 is Dave Yeager. That'd be my top 6.
I mean, Yeager did good things with the Kings. He was just pushed out. That's all it was.
He's an asshole.
Yeah.
He's an asshole of a coach. That's not
guess
always
what?
a bad thing.
Sometimes asshole coaches get the best results.
That's the thing. Sometimes you need an asshole in the locker room to push the team. If you, and it's the old high school, college kind of stigma. How do you unite a team if they don't have anything in common? If they don't have anything, I think it was Miracle. It was the whole thing was the coach becomes that focal point for the team to focus against, and that unites them all the same mission. And that's
run it again.
I think that's what he could do.
Run it again.
I think that's what he could do. Yep.
Run it again.
Exactly.
Let's move on.
I like the idea of Becky. Can we just get a quick?
Yeah,
I agree with you. I think that Becky deserves a shot. I know there was some comments a while back about Paul Gasol talking about her, saying she absolutely can coach NBA level talent. She can be the head coach of an NBA team. I think it's a matter of time. I don't know if we're the team that's going to do it. Do I think that she could coach the Chicago Bulls going forward? Absolutely. Do I know if that would work out well or not? I don't. Honestly,
is she being groomed, though, for the Spurs job? That's my only worry is she being groomed to take over for the Spurs? Because right now it says that, the Bulls haven't shown interest. She did interview for the Bucks job before they went with Budenholzer. Are the Spurs basically hey, once Papa's gone, Becky's basically going to be not she gets it for sure, but she'll be at the top of the list because of the time she's putting in San Antonio?
I think she's up there, but you got to admit, Tim Duncan, Spurs head coach, he might have changed plans. Might have changed plans a little bit.
He's got the kind of... didn't he have the same haircut as you? Not as much hair, but didn't he have the
he had
back?
The straight curls going back. Yeah. I think Tim Duncan might change that plan. Okay. I do think that Becky is definitely up for consideration for any coaching job around the league. She's got her chops. She's definitely come from the right tree. She's been around the smartest people in basketball. If there's any woman who is set up to succeed as the first head coach of an NBA team, it is her, and it's just a matter of time to see which team will lean into her. I think she's top 2 for that Spurs job, but I don't know what Pop's career length will end up as. If it's a 1 more year, 2 more year deal, or if he wants to keep going until he can't. Yeah.
So let's move on. We're going from a team that wasn't in the bubble to another team that was in the bubble. The Sacramento Kings today, literally right before we started recording. Maybe it's a good thing we waited a half hour to record, because this is from Sam Amick, The Athletic. Kings GM Vlade Divac is stepping down, sources tell at Athletic MBA. Joe Dumars, advisor previously, will be interim executive VP of basketball ops and immediately assume GM duties. Dumars will be involved in the search for a new GM. Dave, we just talked about how happy Bulls fans are. This should be a happy day for the Kings too, because this is a team that I would say maybe has more talent on it than the Bulls to win right now. Maybe Coach Yeager could have got them to the playoffs, but they fired him. Now they got Luke Walton, who I was very high on. I wanted Luke to do good, but I can't defend dog shit. Like I can't do it. Even though I want to, I like Luke, I like Bill, but I can't defend what I've seen from the Kings. I can't defend Luke, or I can't defend him. Even though he's my guy and I like him as a coach, I can't defend the performance. But this should be a happy day for Kings fans too. Maybe now something will change. Luke Walton will then be done, and then the Kings can finally get back to winning basketball as well.
Look, I think that outside of De'Aaron Fox, there is a trend with the Kings drafts where it's like you take the Kings draft pick and you look at the next guy drafted and you go, wow, they would have been way better off with that guy.
Yeah.
Like, when you're that high in the lottery, year after 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 year.
Dave's not lagging. He's just going.
That's what it is. It's incredible how poor of a job they did drafting.
Mm-hmm.
They've had so many high draft picks, and they've not hit on enough of them. And I think that the most perplexing one is you have to look back at the Harry Giles. I'm sorry, the Harry Giles was fine because it was like 20th overall. The Marvin Bagley over Luka Doncic, and that one is just, I don't know if it's spitting in my face and telling me it's raining. Like, what? I can't understand what GM could possibly look at that draft quality, like of that class, and tell me that Marvin Bagley is going to become the better NBA professional than Luka Doncic. And I don't understand it. Every NBA GM, every NBA scout, everyone worth their weight was talking about how Luka Doncic has the skill set. He has the handles. He has the mindset. He's already pro ready. He's going to come in this league and he's going to dominate. And then he's going to continue to get better because he's not even conditioned at the NBA level. He's not used to playing, the 82-game schedule. He's going to grow and he's going to get better. And it just...
And
Marvin Bagley.
Sean brings up a good one. Demon King says, then there's also Papa John's. Don't forget Papa John's at 18.
Don't even Papa John's. He wasn't even 18. He was sooner than that.
Was he? Or was he? He was 13. He was 13.
Yeah, 13 makes more sense. Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up.
Because they've been in the lottery for a long time. But no, Vlade as a GM has failed. He has done nothing outside of lucking into a Buddy Hield trade to earn his weight. And that even was questionable at the time. It was like, wow, they've got this struggling 25-year-old rookie who is supposed to be knocking down some shots from the outside, but he's not working in their system. We've got a disgruntled big man. Let's make a deal. And obviously Buddy Hield has been slaying it from three-point range ever since. Now they're in a situation where, though, their head coach has decided that Bogdanovich is going to be in the starting lineup. Buddy Hield's going to be coming off the bench. They did lead them to more wins prior to the bubble, but now in the bubble, Buddy's unhappy, so they got more tension, more questions locker room. Big contract out to Harrison Barnes. They are a team who should be fighting for the playoffs. Yep. They're equal to the Suns in my mind. Them and the Suns, as far as talent are concerned, I understand the Suns have Devin Booker as a notch above, but the Kings have so much talent and so much youth. It's just like, how can't they make it work? And you saw them try to bring in vets this offseason with Dedmon and Kojo, and and Trev Reza. They could not make it work. And again, it starts at the GM. It starts at Vlade being basketball operations, and then you look down at the poor coaching, and then you just keep going. You're like, I understand why this team is failing. So I think this is the first step towards a better future. I think it's a great day for the Bulls. I think it's a great day for the Kings. I think both organizations are due for a refresh and a start over. So I'm excited for them.
Yeah, and I mean, it's exactly like you said. I can't wait to see who they get as the GM, because that's going to be something that I don't think they have a lot of time. Like we said, the draft lottery's on Thursday.
Yeah.
And then the draft is on the 16th. Like, you don't want to be kind of dragging your feet here. You're going to want to do your due diligence.
It's a great call.
But
I didn't even
actually,
think about how close it is.
You're going to have to, like, because usually end of the season, if this was typical end of the regular season, I mean, what, you maybe got an extra month? It's like, what, April to June instead of August to October? Like, starting the 24th when, or I should say actually starting Monday, it's like, what, 7 weeks until the draft? So, like, we're under 2 months until the NBA draft, and I don't even know if they'll get someone in that's going to be like, it might be like, oh, they got someone in, but like how much hands did they have on this draft pick? But moving forward,
we have had more time on this draft class than any other draft class before, to be fair. We've seen less of them, but we have had more time to digest what we have seen, at least.
Plus, I mean, a good point is if you're getting someone for a front office, they're probably doing a similar job for another team, so they've at least seen the guys from the draft class. Like,
well, that's the thing. We've heard different stories of, if you're going to do basketball operations, VP, manager, president, GM, like how they role split that is interesting. Sometimes they want to have someone who's a player talent scout come into the position. Other times you have contract gurus come in. Other times you have business specialists. So like, it depends which way they go, to be honest with you. And I think that's a big question for them. I think they have a lot of young talent, but I think they need someone in there who knows how to work with numbers.
Yeah.
Because I think the Kings are in a situation where they've got a lot of former number one, high school prospects. They've got Jabari Parker on the team right now.
Wooden Award winner. Put some respect on it.
Wooden Award winner.
The best thing I saw is Joe Dumars with a regular phone and a cell phone. It says, "Gonna need 2 firsts for Buddy. Gonna need 2 firsts."
Well, that's the problem. If it's Bucks first, you don't want those.
Yeah.
you don't want a Bucks first for Buddy Hield over there, but I'm sure they would love to give you 2, 28th overall, 29th overall picks for a Wooden Award winner. Even though he is in his prime at like 28 now. I know he's not 28, but he's close. He's close. But yeah, no, I think they go after somebody who has maybe a bit of expertise in working with contract in the league. I don't know if they go necessarily for one of the best scouting scouting guys in the front offices, but it'll be interesting. Joe Dumars is not the right answer. I know that much for you. You need to get someone in there ASAP. I think this is a hot time. I agree with you. I know the draft lottery is coming up, and they're technically part of the said lottery.
Yep.
But you need someone in there ASAP because you cannot shit the bed one more year in this lottery.
Well, so we're going to move on, and before we get into the next basketball topic, we're going to cut this up by doing a segment we love to do each and every Monday through Friday. These are our players of the week. These are our dampest of dudes, our soggiest of shooters, our moistest of men, and sometimes our mistiest of misses. These are our wet boys, the players that we love to give credit to each and every Monday through Friday. How it usually goes, and it's going the same here. Dave's going to give a wet boy. I'm going to give a wet boy. And then our silver and above patrons at patreon.com/MVPvids got to vote on their wet boy for today as well. And I will say this, Dave.
Yes.
I completely forgot to put my wet boy in the thing. So what's going to happen is your wet boy will come up correctly. Cool. My wet boy is going to come up as Soapy's wet boy, but then I'm quickly going to change it to my wet boy. So I'll let you take it away, your wet boy, for this beautiful Friday, August 14th.
My wet boy for this beautiful Friday, August 14th. I want to thank you for Ricky Widmer, because this was a last-second decision. I was like, hey, I can do it today. Like, my schedule opened up at the end of the day. It was, I'm going to wrap up and I'm going to run home and try to be home to start the show. It was a little late. Thank you. But I stole his wet boy. I stole Damian Lillard. I stole perhaps the wettest of boys of the entire bubble. This man has been
the
nothing
MVP
but
of the
fire.
bubble.
He is the MVP of the bubble. He's been in fuego. I mean, there is no stopping Damian Lillard. He has been fire. He will shoot it from damn near 50%. Insane. What he's doing out there is unprecedented. And it reminds you of how good he is and perhaps how overlooked he is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all know Steph Curry's the best point guard in the league when healthy, but Damian Lillard is the runner-up, and that is nothing to scoff at. That's absolutely nothing to scoff at because this man will drain from anywhere. He takes over games when it counts. He has the it factor to him, and I love him for it.
I feel like every single day we've talked about Damian Lillard. Jake and I earlier in the week talked about, does he get enough respect? And even on that show of MVP Sports Live, Jake was like, same thing. He goes, like, where does he rank point guard wise? Because he's like, it's Steph. He goes, and then I think it's Dame. And then he started listing off some more. I'm like, don't forget Dave's boy. I'm like, Dave's going to be mad if we don't throw out CP3, the best true point guard in the league.
Aging, but very good. He's maybe top 5.
I said, and we always say best true point guard.
Because James Harden technically is a point guard, but is playing the 2, but he is probably number 2 or 3 of point guards. But then Russ is there, and no, I'm not going to start this. You go. You go.
My wet boy was going to be Dame, but I gave it to Dave because I'm like, you know what? I can pick someone else. I'm going to the Diamond. I'm going to be the only one today going to the Diamond. Dave, this week, I don't know if you've seen it, we have had so much inclusion from me and the wet boys. Monday, I had a golfer as my wet boy. Yesterday, I had our first NHL player crack into the wet boy odds. Soapy and Jake giving me shit about the golfer, though. Morikawa for winning the PGA Championship because, like Soapy said, it ain't a sport. I'm like, I beg to differ. Golf is a sport, and I got to give you credit for that. But my wet boy, it's going to say James Harden. It is definitely not James Harden. I can guarantee you that my wet boy is not going to be James Harden. I got to really quickly switch this one over. My wet boy is Yu Darvish of the Chicago Cubs. And
I watched
Yu
him
Darvish yesterday took a no-hitter into the 7th inning, finished with a one-hit game, struck out 11. Cubs get the win 4-2, I believe. Dude was on fire. Dude was also the top fantasy pitcher. Home run is
his one hit, which sucks. But like he left it hanging over the middle, and like he knew it as soon as he threw that thing. You could see the pissed off face he made.
Just turn away. I love that out of pitchers when like they either know when after they release or like as soon as like contact's made, they're just like fuck.
I was surprised they left him out there. That was a long half inning. He had to wait though. I mean, a couple getting some runs in there.
I mean, when a guy's got a no hitter, you let him go until he gives up that hit. But it feels nice to see Yu Darvish pitching well because the first year, I remember Brandon. It was a horrible contract. I hope Yu Darvish doesn't pitch well. I don't like Yu Darvish, and it's like. It's like, I'm glad that it's like, yes, Brandon, he is a good contract. He is playing well. But the patrons, Dave.
He was hurt in the rehab, What's patrons say?
And he got rocked by the Dodgers, which messed up his psyche a little bit. But the patrons are going back to the hardwood, Dave. They're giving love to a team that we're going to talk about. You gave love to a player we're going to talk about next. They're giving love to a player. We're going to talk about their team next. They picked Jonas Valanciunas. First time Valanciunas has been a wet boy
dub
on MVP Sports Live. Yeah, 26 points, 19 rebounds, 12 assists, shot 65% from the field and 67% from 3, although he only went 2 of 3 from beyond the arc. So the wet boy for our patrons, silver tier and above, you get to vote on your wet boy. Make sure your voice is heard. Patreon.com/MVPvids. Jonas
Shout
Valanciunas.
out, baby. One half of a 2-man triple-double from the same team.
Yep.
That shit don't happen often. That was an incredible effort by JV, by Ja Morant, and by the Memphis Grizzlies to stay in the bubble.
I almost gave my wet boy to...
sayonara to the Phoenix Suns.
I almost gave my wet boy to Jalen Brooks a little bit, but then I was I can't go triple basketball. I'm like, I got to see if there's a baseball player out there.
Grizzlies fought it out. Credit to them. Like they're a team who have struggled with injuries left, right, and center, and they have not had an easy time in that bubble. But yeah.
Well, let's talk about it. I wanted to talk about the Grizzlies and the Blazers play-in series this weekend. Basically, how it goes: if they play tomorrow, if the Blazers win, it's done. Blazers-Lakers in the first round. If the Grizzlies win on Saturday, they get a second shot on Sunday to beat the Blazers. If Grizzlies can win 2 in a row, we will have Memphis, LA, first round. Dave, I've said this before. Everyone knows my prediction. Lakers going to lose in 7 to Dalla Dame and the Trailblazers. So you guys know what I'm picking. There's no chance. Not a chance. Not a chance. The Grizzlies get past Dalla Dame on Saturday. What are your thoughts here? Do the Grizzlies have a chance? Do they have a chance to beat the Blazers?
Un pequeño. Un pequeño. Is there a chance? Yes, there is. Because the Grizzlies are one of those teams who I don't think you can count them out of any game. They've played so many teams close, and it's a situation where they had the Blazers beat. They had them written off and done. And then the Blazers came on this tear late in the game, the fourth quarter, and came back and showed them, we got the veterans, we got the guys who know how to get it done, we're going to take this shit to OT, and we're going to wrap it up because we have the closers. It was a great moment for the Grizzlies because it was one of those games where it's like, you have to earn your time. And I get it. John Morant is one of those guys who he likes to step up in the fourth quarter. He's one of those guys who will be at, at like 8-10 points come the fourth quarter. That's when he kicks it into that next gear, and he has that extra gear. So I'm never going to count them out. I'm not going to say no to that team because any given day, Dillon Brooks can shoot his way into a game. Any given day, he can also shoot his way out of every single game. But that's not the point for today. The point is that the Memphis Grizzlies have the weapons to get there. Brandon Clark with some exceptional performances, JV, Ja, they can get it done. So I'm not going to count them out. Do I think the Grizzlies are underdogs? Absolutely. I think it would take a colossal effort to win back-to-back games against the Blazers. I do have the Blazers going forward in this one. I don't know if it's going to take 1 or 2, but at the end of the day, things lined up for them. They got their players back healthy at the right time. The only guy they're missing out on now is Rodney Hood, and it's a shame that he had such an injury later in the season. We're not going to be able to see him come playoff time, but it's just unfortunate for the Grizzlies, but it's okay because I feel like they're in a situation where they're so good, so young. Like, John Morant, one of the youngest players to lead a team to playoff contention. I want to say the playoffs because he technically did lead them to the playoffs when the season ended, but let's not, asterisk this season up too much. But yeah, no, credit due. I think the Grizzlies had a hell of a run. I think that Triple J coming back next year, Justice Winslow being healthy for 20 games is going to scare the shit out of their teams. I think it's one of my favorite comments from Reddit. Like, before he takes, his yearly injury break, he'll be great. So I look forward to the Grizzlies for the next 5 years. I think they're one of the best up-and-coming teams. They're spooky, and they're going to be great. But I think for now, the Blazers are proven. They've got the vets. They've got the savvy. I think Nurkic and Dame are going to pull it home. I think we're going to see some skinny Carmelo out there from the outside. I want to see that Lakers-Blazers matchup so bad.
I do too. And the reason why is I said this earlier this week. I can't remember who was on the show. It was either Jake or Soapy. I think it was Jake, 'cause it wasn't Brandon. Because Brandon, we didn't talk NBA the day Brandon was on.
That's okay.
My thought process with the Blazers is they could be a team that could they lose to the Lakers in the first round? Absolutely. Yep. Could they lose one game to the Grizzlies? Absolutely. Like I know I came out hot with the overreaction, Ricky. I do think the Blazers win tomorrow. I don't think the Grizzlies get a game, but realistically, the Grizzlies could steal a game. I just don't see the Grizzlies winning 2 games over the Blazers because of how hot
that would be a hell of a
Blazers have
you
been.
Have to admit.
Well, either way, we're getting the best storyline possible because
yes, I agree.
You either get the Blazers, who then get to go and continue their hot streak against the Lakers, which I think they can keep going. Because think about this. If they beat the Lakers in round 1, then they beat the Rockets in round 2, and then they beat the Clippers or get to the Clippers.
Some people are saying that the Rockets without Russell Westbrook are in danger of being upset in round 1. So let's not write things in stone yet.
The Thunder, we talked about that yesterday, for overlooking the Thunder even, because they had played the Rockets close. Russ is going to miss at least some
2, I think.
Yeah, 2, maybe 3 games of that first series. But like even the Grizzlies, let's say the Grizzlies win these 2 games and then lose to the Lakers. That's even a great story in itself, because to me, it's the story of the NBA tried to fuck you. They tried to fuck you, And
They
you
went
were
out of
like,
their
no.
way to give
And you were
Zion
like,
a
no,
chance.
right here, buddy. We're still making the playoffs. We beat Zion. We beat your Dollar Dame and your Logo Lillard. And we're in the playoffs.
Year.
Uh-huh.
We got one of the youngest players to lead a playoff team. I mean, it's just, they have an incredible story in front of you. I think you're right. I think it's a win-win for NBA fans.
And I can't wait for these games coming up this weekend. Saturday, game 1. Sunday, if necessary, game 2. But, Dave, I'm going to make a slight change to the show. The rest is going to be just 3.
I'm winging all of this.
3 heavy-hitting non-NBA topics. The last thing we were going to do today, because yet again I prepped Soapy for it, where we were going to give our all-year MVP Sports Live Awards for the NBA season. You and I will do that on Monday. So on Monday, the entire show, unless there's like really big news that breaks that we have to talk about, pretty much
sign a new head coach.
Yeah, pretty much Monday is going to be our full NBA predictions.
Okay.
And then we'll give our season, like regular season ending awards, because the playoffs start on Monday. We would technically give those predictions live before the playoffs start. So we'll do that on Monday. The first thing, this one might be a short one, but I just wanted to mention it. And I only put it on here because you were like, yes, I can do the show. But Dave, the big news from Friday in the UFC world is Miocic and Cormier, they both made weight. They made weight. We're getting the fight tomorrow.
Yes.
We are getting the fight tomorrow. They will have their third fight. It's the trilogy. The trilogy ends tomorrow. Dana White also said he does not believe this is Cormier's last fight. What are your thoughts on this? I can't wait for it. I am definitely going to be watching Stipe Miocic, and Daniel Cormier.
Yeah, DC is an all-timer. I mean, that man can wrestle anything. Like, he can wrestle a bear. Like, he's so good. And literally, it's a weird setup they've got at the top of the heavyweights, because you've got DC, you've got Cormier, you got John Jones, and that's the elitist of elite. John Jones, perhaps one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters of all time. The only thing that gets in John Jones' way is John Jones, because he can't keep his head straight on, and that's very unfortunate for someone as talented as he is, who knows the game as well as he does. But DC is someone who we've seen actually beat him, and I think that Stipe though is just he's a legend. He's one of those names you don't speak easily. It's just it's basically the fucking boogeyman up there.
Wasn't he one of the ones when? So I only remember this because this is when Sean was just getting like us watching them together, but getting me into UFC. Wasn't Miocic one of the ones that was on like a post-fight commentary and called someone out during the post-fight?
No,
was that Miocic or was that someone else?
I think that was somebody else. I think that might have been. That was somebody else.
Because all I remember Sean saying is, I'm like, does that guy usually do that? And Sean's like, yeah, he's kind of an asshole.
No,
I just couldn't remember
Stipe is old school.
Okay,
he's got the Eastern European Russian vibes to him. He's definitely older. He's just so clean. He's so good, and I think that's the thing. He is basically like I'm trying to find a nice super generic descriptive term for him because he's Russian. So it's like he will whatever. But he's a very good fighter. He's very experienced. I think both these guys are very long in the tooth, but at the same time, they know all the tricks. They have the great cardio. Neither one of these guys should be gassed completely by the end of the fight. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think stylistically, like you said, this will be the end of the trilogy for them. So we'll see which way it splits. But if I had to guess, I think DC should have the advantage here. I would lean toward them in this fight, but I'm not going to gamble on this one because honestly, it's a toss up. They're both legends.
Dave's like, I'm not throwing any money out there.
I would not. I don't know what the line is. I don't want to know. I'm not betting on it.
Do you remember how the first two went? Because obviously I don't.
Off the top of my head right now, I'm blanking on who won
Dave's
which.
Dave's like, you asked me this. Okay, I've got, let's see. The Cormier Miocic 2 ended in a loss for Cormier. So Miocic won the last one.
Yep. Yep.
So it's 1-1, yeah.
Yeah.
DC won the first one.
Was it
Miocic
by
won the second
decision
one.
the first time, though?
So the first one was UFC 226, which was July 7th of 2018.
Yep.
They have a KO/TKO punches for Cormier. And then, what date is this?
One.
August 17th, 2019 was UFC 241, Cormier Miocic 2, where it was KO/TKO punches in the third round. No, not third round. Fourth round.
Fourth round. Okay. Yeah. So we'll see. So no decisions. This has just been pure knockout madness.
The first one only lasted a round. The one Cormier one was a first rounder. The one Miocic one was
I remember that. I remember watching the first fight.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, I think it'll be interesting, but I want to lean DC on this one. I think he's got one more in him. Easy.
So the next two things we're going to move on to, more football things. And actually, I'm cutting one of them only because of time on the show. The last thing we're going to talk about is, so we've talked about this for when it comes to college.
Yes.
But I thought this was very interesting coming from the high school world, where the number one recruit, Jack Sawyer, is going to skip his final high school football season and seek early enrollment at Ohio State. Basically, he put out a thing on Twitter that says, open up the picture, it says... Oh, come on, you're not going to let me scroll over. After extensive discussion with my parents and coaches regarding the uncertainty of this high school football season and the probability of a spring collegiate season, I have decided to focus on training and preparation for my early enrollment at Ohio State. I want to thank all of my coaches and teammates for their support throughout this difficult decision. Basically, the question I want to ask you, Dave, is, how many students may we see do this, especially if college is going to have a spring football season? Because what they could technically do is, hey, if I graduate, I know that the high school that I don't know if my high school did it, but I know your high school did it, the one that was in our hometown, where there were people that like graduated December of their senior year and graduated early. How many kids, because of this whole COVID thing, because of everything going on, are basically going to say, hey, I can graduate early, be done in December, get early enrollment into, like, for me, I'm thinking it's got to be if you're going to a Pac-12 or a Big Ten school, because they're the only ones that have canceled their football season and are looking to play in the spring. But like for Jack here, who's going to Ohio State, hey, usually it would be I graduate early, and then all spring I'm just working with the college coaches, and I'm getting to work out with the team. But now it could be, hey, I may be able to, like, I'm not saying necessarily get on the field, because Justin Fields would be playing unless he opts out. But obviously, like, hey, I get to experience a college football season a half a year sooner than I would if I would just basically play this football season that's going to happen in the spring anyways.
Yeah, I think it's a unique situation that this year has provided them. I do believe that you're correct as far as, like, hey, this is an opportunity to have a chance to hit the field, not only hit the field, but also full practices is massive in the spring, because at that point in the year, like, every college team is basically just like, hey, let's upkeep. It's all upkeep practice at that point in the year. If you're not a multi-sport athlete in college, which very rare, you're just an upkeep as far as your practice time, because they're not allowed that many hours. So I think that unfortunately it's going to come down to, like, hey, if he has the chance to do it, great. I don't know if they're going to have college sports in the spring though. I mean, like, it's a gamble, but there's no downside for him.
It's something that's
like, if
not
he's set
planned
to go and he's a top talent as far as what he's ranked 1 for college,
number 1.
Jeez. Then there's no downside for him hitting college coaching earlier. Like, absolutely go for it, do that, and he'll be set up for the future. I mean, whether this takes, because again, college football is different than basketball.
Mm-hmm.
You're stuck with a team for 3 years.
Yeah.
So why not get with the team half a year early and get a chance to, even if you don't, like you said, he's not going to be starting, but if Ohio State does pull off a spring sport and they do get to play games, are you telling me in one of these games they're not going to be blowing out a team by enough that he won't touch the field? I don't think he's a redshirt candidate if that's the case.
Yeah, and I mean, it all comes down to what if there even is football, what the schedule looks like, because we talked about it earlier this week where Purdue head coach Jeff Brom, he kind of mapped out what he thought would be a good schedule, where Brom's proposal outlines an 8-game season that begins on February 27th and finishes on April 17th, with the postseason play wrapping up May 15th. He also outlines a slightly tourniqueted fall 2021 schedule that would feature 10 games beginning on October 2nd after a 4-week training camp. Both plans include playoff options for 4 to 6 teams.
I'm sure.
And like the other thing that plays into this is the NCAA is going to have to decide, is this a violation? Do we want, because like I said,
there's no way.
Technically this is, because looking at Jack Sawyer, he's technically class of 2021. So his first year would be 2021 for freshman year. But like I said, there are kids that do the early enrollment, but it's usually, like you said, I want to get working with college coaches. I want to basically get in the facilities, start taking some college classes early before football season starts. Maybe, I can get work with college coaches. I can have my harder schedule in the spring and then have an easier fall, so I don't have a huge like load schedule while I'm trying to focus on football, because that's my main career option.
I'm more familiar with some kids from basketball doing that, where they will come up in the fall and or come up by the end of the fall like, hey, I'm going to early register so I can be NBA draft ready if that comes to be the case. And I think we hit that a couple of years ago. There was a kid who had done that. And I would not be surprised if this becomes more common as the whole COVID situation unrolls.
Yeah, and the thing I was going to go into is I wonder if will there be a situation where the NCAA goes, okay, you can early enroll, you can participate in practices like you would, but you can't, like, if you're blowing a team out, you can't play him because this is technically the 2020 season and you're a 2021 recruit.
It's like a mandatory red shirt kind of a deal?
Not a red shirt, but it's just a fact of...
Well, it's not counting towards his first year.
Yeah, so it wouldn't count, but he could basically do everything you could do as an early enrollment, but playing games. Because I wonder if they're going to do that where it's basically like, you can't cheat the system. Because this is kind of like, to me, if that's the case, cheating the system.
Half year of eligibility early.
To play a season. Like, and I get that maybe it's like, hey, I can get a year of eligibility out of the way. It's like, okay, so you technically got a season of eligibility out of the way before you were technically supposed to start your first season. So I wonder if the NCAA will even step in and go, hey, you can do practices, which, like you said, during an actual season, the practices are different than over the spring.
Yep. So he could be the practice squad player who is mocking other teams and trying to set up, pretending he's XYZ quarterback.
So you're still getting better experience than you would, but I wonder if the NCAA will say, hey, no, this is a loophole. You can't play in the games, but you can do everything you could as an early enrollee to the school.
I think the NCAA is at a point where you should allow this, as this is a unique situation that will affect at tops a dozen kids. Like, this is not something where it's made for everybody. This is a unique situation where if he's eligible to graduate early from high school and be set, that's great for him. He's one of a few who is going to qualify for this. This is not 250 do this because they're, set to go. Like, no. And then again, it's an even bigger if we have a spring season, which is a very big unknown right now. And I don't think that we should be counting on that being written in stone. So I don't think it's I think it's a good move on his end, and I think it's a good move on college's end to allow it to happen, and to hope that we will have a spring season, that he will be, 1 year of eligibility down. But again, it's one of, the thousands that will be coming to college.
And just my kind of last thought, this just popped in my head.
Yeah.
I don't know if this affects the high school, because like you said, it might be a handful of high school kids that do this. The can of worms this could open up is the JUCO side. Because JUCO players do this more often than high school players of, hey, I'm going to transfer after the fall to the spring, get working with this team so that I basically have familiarity with it before I step in the fall. Yep. How many JUCO players are going to go, fuck, I can come in and just play in the spring and then I could play in the spring, then play in the fall again, and then boom, boom, eligibility 2 years, boom, I'm off to the next season. I'm off to the next.
That's a great question, actually. I'm glad you brought that up.
That's the can of worms that I think the NCAA gets into, but I just wanted to bring this up because it was interesting to see a high school kid say, hey, I'm going to skip out and basically early enroll for a spring season at Ohio State. But that's going to do it for MVP Sports Live. Dave, the end of week 2. We've made it 2 full weeks without missing a show. Well, I mean, vacation, you can take vacation off. I'm just saying, this is something we started. We're doing it. I'm happy we're doing it. The shows have been great. I've had fun doing them. I can't wait to get you back next week on the show because I missed you. What?
We got shout-outs for Twitch?
Sam's been saying he misses old school boxing. He says that he does not see spring college football realistically happening. And during the UFC stuff, Sean said John Jones is the greatest or second greatest UFC fighter ever.
Him and GSP, it's hard to argue, but now Khabib is up there. I don't know, the list is growing.
And then he said Anderson Silva is the only person who can fight for it. Anderson Silva hit him with the high kick.
Mighty Mouse, I think, deserves to have his name up there for pound. I think there's at least 5 guys there.
Gotta throw Connor's name out there, too.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
You can throw Connor's name out there, too. But that's going to do it for MVP Sports Live. Remember, Discord's open. Link is down below in the description. Please join the Discord. That's where announcements will happen. You can have great conversations about everything we talk about here with everyone who watches MVP and with us ourselves, your direct line to MVP. And also Twitter. Dave's at Dave_don't_tweet. Don't expect him to
follow
tweet. Me. You do have followers, which is great. You have followers. Also, if you have an Instagram, follow me on Insta, baby, at Ricky Widmer. That happened this week, Dave. The Instagram is set. It is set. Soapy says he loves how it's all wholesome pics that has gone on. But so I'm going to pump my Instagram a little bit, fucking get me a little bit of clout out there in the IG, the Insta world. Don't worry, I'm joking when it comes to bikini pics. I'm not fucking putting a bikini pic on that Instagram because, Dave, that was the joke. That's what I got to do, right? That's all Insta is models in bikini pics. But thank you guys for watching, and as always, have a good day, everybody.